Have you ever noticed that the moment you begin to change, truly change, the world around you doesn't celebrate? It resists, not always directly, not with confrontation, but with whispers, smiles that don't reach the eyes, words coated in concern, but laced with doubt. They say, "Don't work too hard. You've changed. That's unrealistic." They call it advice, but what they feel is fear. Because your growth threatens their stagnation. Your discipline highlights their procrastination. Your evolution reminds them that they've stopped moving long ago. You're not just changing, you're breaking free. And to a world addicted to sameness, to routine, to comfort, to fitting in, that makes you dangerous. Not dangerous in the way of destruction, but dangerous in the way of awakening. Because a truly strong mind doesn't conform. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need applause. It moves with clarity, with intention, through solitude, storms, and silence. And when people see that kind of person, they don't always know what they're seeing, but they feel it, and it unsettles them. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this better than anyone. He wrote, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." Most quote that line without understanding it. They think it's poetic. They think it's beautiful. But if you've been through anything real, loss, failure, isolation, you know it's not just a metaphor, it's a diagnosis. Real transformation doesn't begin with peace. It begins with chaos. Not when life is easy. Not when the world is cheering for you. But when everything inside you is falling apart, and you keep going anyway. You see, Nietzsche didn't believe that suffering was a mistake. He believed it was necessary, a rite of passage. Not because pain is noble, but because pain reveals what's real. It peels away the lies we tell ourselves. It strips the ego. It shatters the illusions. And what's left is who you really are. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your crucible. Loneliness, your teacher. Failure, your mentor. Rejection, your mirror. Because it's in these moments, when there's no one left to impress, that you're finally forced to face the truth. The truth that comfort breeds compliance. That safety, while seductive, is the enemy of greatness. That the life most people live isn't chosen. It's accepted. But you're beginning to choose. To choose discomfort. To choose discipline. To choose a path that almost no one dares to walk. Not because it's trendy, but because deep down, something in you knows. You weren't born for mediocrity. You were born for clarity, for purpose, for impact. And that terrifies people. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're becoming someone they can no longer predict, manage, or control. This world trains you to be fragile, to crumble at criticism, to panic at silence, to avoid pain at all costs. It teaches you to be agreeable, until you forget who you really are. But the mind you're building, that's different. It doesn't need external validation. It doesn't collapse under disapproval. It doesn't chase trends or trophies. It stands, it observes, it endures. And that kind of strength, it doesn't come from comfort. It comes from voluntary struggle, from choosing the harder path. Not because it's noble, but because it's true. Because you've realized that nothing in this world is more valuable than the ability to stand tall in your own mind, to walk alone if needed, to face yourself and not flinch. And that kind of strength, it doesn't come from comfort. It comes from voluntary struggle, from choosing the harder path, not because it's noble, but because it's true. Because you've realized that nothing in this world is more valuable than the ability to stand tall in your own mind. to walk alone if needed, to face yourself and not flinch. Nietzsche believed that the highest form of human life was the individual who creates meaning for themselves, who doesn't rely on society to tell them who they are, who forges their values in the fire of personal experience. He called this the path of the Übermensch, the overman, the one who transcends the ordinary. But most never walk that path, because it demands everything. It demands the death of the old you, the one who feared judgment, the one who needed to be liked, the one who hid behind excuses. To walk that path, you must become intimate with isolation. You must face your own abyss and not turn away. You must learn to sit in silence, to stare at your flaws without flinching, to acknowledge your weaknesses and still move forward. Because strength isn't pretending they don't exist. It's learning to rise anyway. You want freedom? Then stop begging for safety. Start building a mind that can handle anything. A mind that doesn't panic in uncertainty. That doesn't break under betrayal. That doesn't run from discomfort. A mind that remains calm while the world around it collapses. That's power. And that kind of power is rare, terrifying, beautiful. You won't find it in self-help slogans. You won't find it in comfort zones. You'll find it in the work, in the repetition, in the storms, in the nights where no one's watching, but you show up anyway. The world doesn't need more agreeable people. It doesn't need more noise. It needs clarity. It needs people who can stand alone and still speak truth. People who don't fold under pressure. People who don't sell out their integrity for convenience. People who have gone so deep within themselves, they can't be shaken by the surface-level games of the world. This is who you are becoming, slowly, quietly, brick by brick. And yes, it's lonely, it's brutal, it's misunderstood, but it's real. And in a world drowning in illusion, truth is the most terrifying thing there is. So keep going, even when they doubt you, especially when they doubt you. Keep showing up, keep getting stronger, keep choosing the hard path, because it's the true path. The world doesn't need more people who fit in. It needs people who wake others up just by being themselves. You're not just building strength. You're building a mind so strong that the lies of the world break against it like waves on stone. So walk into the chaos. Sit with the pain. Welcome the fire. Let it reshape you. Let it carve away the weakness. Let it teach you who you really are. Because when the smoke clears and the noise fades, you'll be left with something that no one can give you and no one can take away. A mind of your own. Let the world feel what it's like to be in the presence of someone who thinks for themselves, someone who can't be broken, someone who has become truth itself. Become the one who terrifies with truth. Inspired by Nietzsche. Subscribe for content that sharpens the mind.